just says the broadcast is live. No countdown. We can count down, right? 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. Did it go live? It is. Okay, I see it. 15. Got it.
Oh. Hey, what the hell? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Where's the video? Hide? Like, what? Oh, no.
The sleeper needed 5 more minutes. We needed to sleep in just a little bit more.
It is completely frozen up.
I just see us.
I can't see us.
Yeah, it's just us. Say hi to the camera. We're live.
No, like, I'm completely black on the screen.
Oh, nope, you're there.
I'm going... Oh, there I am. Ooh. Wow, that was weird. Did everything...
Hi, friends. We're experiencing technical difficulties.
Okay, I'm not touching shit again, like... welcome to Celluloid and Scotch. As you can tell, Carlito is not here. He is not feeling well and kind of lost his voice. So,
and I am a poor substitute. So,
no, for this subject, there is no better person to have, and it is this thing that brought us together in the first place.
It is, isn't it?
Technically, this movie, but our love of this subject.
Yeah.
Hello, Sleepy Reader 666.
Hey, Dan.
And Gore, always happy to have you here, especially when we're going to be discussing David Lynch.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm sure you've got some factoids.
Oh my goodness. Gore should be on this panel.
Yeah, like I know like Varangian Vigilante went at me about this because he's like, don't insult that movie. It's a really good movie. It's a big part of my childhood. I was like, I'm not really insulting it. I just think that there was no way at that point in time this movie was ever going to do justice. And then when you get like a kind of outside the lines director who kind of wants to put his own stamp on shit.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, we're talking about Dune. We're of course, because that's just all we ever talk about is Dune. And we're talking about the 1984 movie directed by the weird ass director David Lynch. And when I think about like the weird ass director that was supposed to do it before him, Alejandro Jodorowsky, do you think that David Lynch is less or more weird than Jodorowsky?
So little weird fact also, Ridley Scott was attached to this at one point, and his brother died of cancer, and he was like, nope, can't do it. And it was going to be 2.5 years of production.
Makes sense, because I feel like that's what we're like in year 2.5, 3.5 year of production of
the newer one.
Denis Villeneuve.
Yes.
I feel like you have to like whistle at the end. Denis Villeneuve.
My name is Denis Villeneuve.
Villeneuve.
So, like, I don't want to like ridicule this movie a lot because, again, I feel like it was an impossible movie to make, and I think the best description for it, it's a beautiful mess.
It kind of is, and like I've watched, rewatched this movie so many times now, that, and I'm pretty sure it all blurs together, folks. Spice is one hell of a drug, but I can't remember like what I watched or read first. I think that I watched it first, and there was like moments that I was expecting to go into the book with, and they're not there. Like there's a lot of creative liberties taken. One of the things that I like when I think about like weird directors who didn't do well with this type of movie, I think about this person often. I think about Taika Waititi, who is like a weird, wacky, just like avant-garde director, writer, and how beautiful the movies that he gets with a budget, like Thor Ragnarok, is incredible. And I'm so glad a movie like that was given to him. I would love to see him do Dune, but
The guy who did District 9, he's another one where like he just puts his own sensibilities and he's like, well, fuck the audience. I love this.
And okay, so since you mentioned District 9, and one of my favorite actors is in all of his movies, I love Charlton Copley
Oh, he's
so
awesome.
gosh darn much. And I'm trying to, now that you say that, I'm trying to think like, who would Charlton Copley play?
Liet Kynes.
Stilgar?
Liet Kynes.
I vote for Stilgar. Well, maybe not Stilgar. I don't see Liet now. I can only see Liet Kynes as
a woman.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lynch apparently was a pain in the ass also, but not like Jodorowsky pain in the ass. You're gonna hear us reference Jodorowsky a lot.
For those of you watching, if you don't know who Jodorowsky is, Alejandro Jodorowsky was a weird ass director in the 60s, did some crazy ass Holy Mountain type movies, wanted to make Dune, wanted to make it a 14, 16-hour movie. Like, you were going to be on drugs while watching the movie. That was the experience. And he was going to be in it, and Dolly was going to be in it, and Pink Floyd. And so anyways, he didn't get to make the movie. He made a comic book instead. Please go watch the documentary Jodorowsky's Dune for more info. That's like the little like editor's asterisk note.
So the music was going to be Pink Floyd, another prog rock group called Magma. Dan O'Bannon for visual effects, who later took H.R. Giger with him to do Alien.
H.R. Giger.
Jean Giraud, Mobius. And Chris Foss did set design and character design.
Mm-hmm.
Mick Jagger was going to be Fade Routha. Salvador Dali as the Emperor. Orson Welles as Baron Harkonnen. Mm-hmm. Udo Kier as Piter.
Who is that again?
Udo Kier, the rather large German guy who, like, he was in Indiana Jones.
Yep,
Last
got
Crusade. He always plays the scary German guy, apparently.
Yeah, the scary German guy. He's credited as that like 100 times, I assume.
David Carradine has Duke Leto.
Yeah.
Hey, poor Mike. Thank you for that nice comment you left us the other day.
Yeah, that was very nice. Very nice.
Yes, great success. Of course, Jodorowsky's son was going to play Paul Atreides. Gloria Swanson. Charlotte Rampling.
Yeah. Who is in the new movie?
Yes, as Mother
Helen Mohiam.
Mohiam.
Gaius
Mohiam.
Yeah.
Mohiam.
Whew.
7 months Ridley Scott was involved, and then right after the first draft, which was more in line with the novel, a little bit looser, but more in line with it. Jodorowsky famously wanted to have a 14-hour movie, but was willing to go down to 12 and no less.
No less. I seriously, like, I think about this alternate timeline. Like, we're clearly living in the darker timeline, and all of the world's evils probably would have been fixed if we had at least gotten a 12-hour Jodorowsky Dune movie. But, you know, this is my villain origin story where I like scratch my chin like this and I'm like, okay, is interdimensional travel possible? And how do I find the dimension where we get that 12-hour movie?
In a world where we got the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, that the Snyder Cut is also my villain origin story.
I would also take the animated version of it.
Okay.
Just 14 hours of animation. Like,
yeah,
it could be interesting, especially if you have Jean Giraud like bring his drawings to life.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so there is a Bible that they show in the documentary that is all of Jean Giraud's art. Yeah, it's huge, and big misstep not putting out a version of that for people to buy.
Like $1,000?
I would have had to buy a table just to hold it.
Yeah, you wouldn't buy this as a coffee table book. You would buy a book coffee table for this thing.
So I have some information about what this movie did, and its budget. Please pardon me while I crack like at how much. So the budget was hold on.
Surprisingly, it's a lot.
45 million.
45 million gosh darn
1984.
dollars. Which adjusted to today would be
Oh my god, I had all this adjusted information. 75 million.
75 million. What was the budget for this year's Dune?
130.
Okay. Understandable.
I remember there's already people like going, I don't know if it's going to make its money back. But it had a good opening in Europe.
Yeah. And I mean, if I have to quit my job and just go and see Dune over and over and over again to make that money, I'll do it.
So opening weekend domestic, it did 6 million.
Wow.
Yes.
I think marketing probably looked different. What was it up against any other movies that year that like opening weekend or like, because I feel like even this book has such a cult following, even back then would have had a cult following that would have brought it more than 6 million.
I'm looking at what it went against. Like,
yeah.
Box office.
Box office. What month did it come out?
Weirdly enough, Christmas time.
See, I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, okay, maybe it came out like in February or something. But if it came out Christmas, like, that should have been the movie.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Like, it went against Beverly Hills Cop.
I mean, I could kind of see that. For mainstream people, I guess.
It actually finished ahead of The Terminator.
Wow. Was it the first Terminator?
Yes.
Huh.
Let's see. The Cotton Club, Starman by John Carpenter, Supergirl, Amadeus.
Yeah.
Night of the Comet. Love that movie. A Nightmare on Elm Street. Ghostbusters. Purple Rain. Karate Kid.
Wow.
Like, that was a fucking jacked up December.
That was a totally jacked up December. Okay, so at first I'm like, if it came out December of 84, should have been a shoo-in. But after hearing all of those, I could see how Dune might make it to the bottom of the list.
But like Ghostbusters had already been out for over a month, so it had like dropped down the chart, but still, like,
yeah,
that's a lot of movies out there like taking money that could have gone elsewhere.
Yep, for sure. And I think Ghostbusters is definitely, even though it was probably a little bit more like niche back then, I could imagine that taking up some of that. Yeah.
All-time domestic box office, it took 27 million.
So it barely made half. Of course, it probably made its money back now with like DVD. I know I've bought it digitally, so I'm sure it's made its money back, but
all-time international box office, $1,865.
wait, what?
Yeah.
Hold on. Sorry. Repeat that first part again.
All-time international box office, $1,865.
Got it. So like all of like 60 people, 50 people went and saw that movie internationally.
Europe was like, no, we're good.
Yeah. But that could be that it just like opening weekend or the same weekend only played in one theater for like one weekend.
That could be, like, again, it's just astounding.
And maybe it wasn't so, like, back then, what did like dubbing and stuff really look like, or subbing? So
Probably
maybe
not good.
if maybe there wasn't an English audience in the one theater that it was playing in internationally, then maybe that's why. I'm not discounting that, but there's probably a good reason why it just barely did over $1,000.
I am also haunted by Virginia Madsen.
I think every boy of a certain age, well, not every boy, a majority of boys and some of the girls,
Like,
some of the thems.
Her explaining the plot, like, it's just like, on the planet, oh, by the way, it is only on the planet Arrakis. I was like, hold the fuck up. You had to do it, oh, by the way.
Oh, in the beginning, it is a very delicate time. Yeah. But that's exactly how the book basically opens. So, yeah.
And after us reading the book fairly recently, the jumping around, I was just like, wait, what? Wow, we just missed a whole lot here.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't get Jamis.
Nope.
I mean, thank God we didn't get Jamis, but still.
Yeah.
There is a lot of plot there that they kind of don't explain, though.
And then stuff that gets added doesn't make any sense. Like, we get to see like a guild navigator.
Yeah, like, and then the spacing guild people carry microphones with them. Like, at first I was like, are that the Talaxu? Like, did I miss this?
Yeah.
Oh, Virginia Madsen was just, she might be what jump-started my love of Irulan, and not realizing that she wasn't in the fucking book till, like, the last page.
I mean, she was technically in the book the whole time.
Technically.
But in the movie, she's given a lot more screen time than, I don't want to say deserved, but yeah.
The floating croissant.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, Sting was jacked. I will kill him.
Yeah. I do think that this movie, after watching it again and again and again, I can't tell if it gets better or worse.
I went in with more of an open mind, going, I know this is a mess.
Yeah.
I just bought the Arrow limited edition 4K.
Mm-hmm. Did that make it any better?
I watched every extra on all the discs.
Okay.
There is one, like, 30-minute long doc about just the merchandising. Universal was convinced this was going to be the next Star Wars.
Yeah, as it should have been.
They flooded the market with toys, pop-up books, coloring books, the records that play along with the book.
Yep, I've got one of the tapes. Yep.
The movie theaters were supplied with a Treasury edition by Marvel of the Dune limited series, which you have the first issue by Sienkiewicz.
I have the first 3 issues.
Oh, first 3 issues. So, like, they went on a blitz and, like...
And really quick.
Pencil cases.
Yeah, really quick. So there's this really cool, like, vintage toy shop near me, and they sell comics and stuff too. And I got the chance to go in and, like, nerd out with the owner there, and they got in the prototypes for, like, the book that they did that was like a pop-up book.
Yes.
They got the prototype for it. So not like a book, they got the prototype for how the book was going to be made. And they also just got in the like prototypes for all of the toys that originally came out for this movie as well. Like, really, really cool. If I didn't spend dumb bitch money on Swamp Thing, I would be spending dumb bitch money on Dune shit.
Yeah, like, Sting was just like, you know what? I'm going to eat the fucking scenery when I'm in there. Like, I'm going to have my shirt off. I'm going to bring a cat in to tell Thufir he's going to have to milk it.
Yeah, let's
every
milk that
day.
cat.
like the voice of Chucky, Brad Dourif is playing Piter. Like there's some interesting casting going on in this, and Brad Dourif is like a great character actor. He's been in a ton of shit.
Was Chucky was before this, right? After. Got it. Okay.
Chucky was 86, I believe.
Okay. I was thinking it was 82 or 83.
Yeah, Dune, like Blade Runner, suffered from a general public going to movies to see Star Wars. And
you know, it's funny. I was trying to the like obvious like theme of this movie. I think that David Lynch, Blade Runner came out before Dune.
Yes. 2 years before.
2 years before. So I feel like the way that Jodorowsky was going to do Dune was going to be a very far off, like galactic, like just weird. I think that he would have probably gotten a lot more cosmic weird with like the outfits and just everything. Whereas I think that the 1984 Dune movie tried to do this like weird post nostalgia, or how like I feel like there was a lot of nostalgia in this movie, especially for the way that women looked. It had that like classic 50s, not housewife, but like sex idol would look. I really get that from Lady Jessica.
I also like Jodorowsky seemed like it was like going to be more spiritual.
Yeah, he was going to have his spiritual warriors, man.
The narration in this, like the voiceover, like as Gore was saying, like their inner monologues, like takes you right the fuck out of the movie. Like,
but that's the book.
I know,
that's
but like
100% the book.
It felt clumsy. I don't know why. Like it literally was pulling me out of like watching it, where I'd be like, okay, Duncan Idaho was miscast.
It reminds me like that, like inner dialogue reminds me of one of, I don't know if they're maybe one of my favorites, but one of my favorite comic writers, but Kieran Gillen, who does that. It'll be like a whole page, and like half the page is inner dialogue, half the page is what the character's saying, and it's going back and forth, and it honestly turns out to be a mess sometimes. But that's definitely how Dune, the original book, is written. I'm not seeing it as much with Dune Messiah now that we're rereading it, but definitely the first book. Yeah.
Cytale has more of the inner monologue, it seems, at least what we've read so far.
Yeah. Yep.
Speaking of Kieran Gillen, you saw he's back on X-Men.
No, I didn't see that. When is he
announced it? He's taking over after Hickman leaves.
Oh, okay. I can kind of dig that. That would kind of make sense. I'm here for it.
And since we're kind of on the comic talk for a minute, watched the teaser for Sandman today from Netflix, and I immediately had to send it to Jen as soon as it popped up.
So good. Like shot for shot, the first fucking issue. It looks perfect so far.
Like the only thing, like I didn't think Tom Sturges was pale enough. Like I know that's like really just picking at shit.
That is literally picking at shit. Yeah.
But I also saw the opening sequence for Cowboy Bebop, the live action.
I kept seeing a whole bunch of stuff about Cowboy Bebop, and I'm like, I bet like a trailer dropped or something.
It did. They dropped everything for Netflix today. Like Stranger Things season 4.
Oh. Speaking of stuff, have you gotten a chance to watch Foundation?
It dropped?
Yeah. There's 2 episodes.
I started watching the Midnight Mass on Netflix.
Oh, the cartoon one?
No, the horror series by Mike Flanagan. I started watching a little bit of that, and I'm going to try and watch Wheel of Time because I was like, the book didn't work for me, but maybe the show will.
The book didn't work for me either. I've tried to read it like 10 times, cannot get past the first chapter. It's my partner's like favorite fucking fantasy series ever. I've been yelled at about it for 13 goddamn years and haven't been able to get into it. So.
I have a coworker who loves it, and he's like, well, I couldn't get into Game of Thrones. And I was like, you don't like food enough.
Yeah.
And he kind of looked at me, and I'm like, what? He goes, what the fuck does food have to do with Game of Thrones? I'm
You
like,
gotta
you
want to
didn't
fuck.
get far enough.
Yeah, you gotta want to fuck that food if you're gonna read Game of Thrones.
Like, I can't wait to do that read through with Cynthia, where she's like, I don't know if I'm hungry or horny reading this. Like,
it's both. It's both, baby girl.
So, like, this movie, like, again, there's like jumps in here where if you're a book reader, like, I feel like they could have like let off the, like, Universal was like hard nosed about, you're doing a 2-hour movie. He turns in a 4-hour cut, fully intending to cut it to 3 hours, and they're like, no, 2 hours.
Cut more.
So the Virginia Madsen opening was added after he already left the movie. He didn't know about it. Because they felt they needed someone to, like, tell the audience what the fuck is going on.
That's exactly what you need, though. Like, I think that's almost what the book suffers from a little bit, because you're literally just thrown into this world, and it's a fantastic world to be living in, but you need a little bit of a guide.
Yeah, like, I know, I think it was Gore who said they had one sheets down, like, when he went to see it, explaining the characters and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Which I'm curious if they did that with the new movie as well, with like, listen, we're going to drop a ton of shit on you. Denny's sticking to the book, so like, if you know, you know.
I think that what you need to do, if you do not know what they're talking about in the movie, like if you go to see the new Dune movie, what you need to do is you need to watch our read through, the Dune over of the book. Yes. We get weird with it. We probably go on way too many tangents than we need to, but we will make sense of nonsense for you.
We just started doing Dune Messiah, and we're all in agreement about what the fuck is going on with flooring in this book.
Yeah, the first one was, I mean, granted, it wasn't it was like a background fucking filing cabinet, but
then there was tapestries and rugs. Also, like, there is a part where like a version of Sass was, you need to clean your floor.
Yeah, you need to get your house in order.
Also, like, to talk about Blade Runner and what happened with that, I need to go back on this like weird tangent, because Blade Runner, The Thing, and E.T. all released within a week of each other.
Wow.
And everybody wanted to see E.T. John Carpenter thought his career was done after The Thing, because it sucked so bad in the theater. Like, it made no money. Blade Runner made no money. Like, just, they got annihilated because that little marketing bonanza of Spielberg called E.T. just knocked them all out of the theaters, and then Second Life on video.
At the end of the day, E.T. is a family movie. So The Thing is not a family movie. Blade Runner is not a family movie. E.T. is fun for the whole fucking family and your alien ass living in the closet. Like, bring it all of y'all.
But Wilford Brimley flipping out should bring the family to the yard.
Yeah, that is also true. You know, I think about Blade Runner a lot, and you know, if we're going to compare those like book to movie adaptations, do you think that Blade Runner, that one, was a better adaptation than Dune?
I mean, they're both incredibly loose.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott, like, I honestly, like, to a degree, I think Blade Runner succeeds because of the actors more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Roy Batty is such a compelling fucking character.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford in it is great.
I think it definitely, even though it doesn't, I once again watched the movie way before watching or reading the book, and man, like, they're barely anything alike. Like, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep has got nothing on this movie, but I think it's a more cohesive movie than the 1984 Dune was.
But everybody will complain how long that movie is, just like 2049, where it's like, it's just boring.
It is a little bit too long, and it probably should have been broken up, but I'm glad that Denis Villeneuve is able to is able to do hopefully multiple movies.
I still, so I've seen an article that said depending on how it does on HBO Max determines if it gets a sequel, and I'm just like, listen, let him make the second movie. Like,
Yeah.
if you let him go to Dune Messiah, that's a whole other fucking thing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
I would be very surprised if it didn't go to second. It would have to be like, this will have to be even worse than the 1984 Dune, the one that we're actually supposed to be talking about. It's going to have to be like disastrously worse than the 1984 one for me to call it bad. Like, if this movie is even a small bit entertaining, like, even if it, I don't know, this would really have to bomb for me to be like, this is a horrible movie.
The one thing I've read is that people who don't know were like, it's boring. I'm like, okay, like Denis Villeneuve has that mark on him that he makes long, boring movies. Interesting, beautifully shot, but I'm just like, I can't see it. Like, but I guess for the initiated like us, like, it's just going to be like, it's only 3 hours. Like,
yeah, I'm literally going to go into this movie like big sandworm go and ornithopters go like
Flappy Bird.
I'm just, man, I'm here for it.
So to talk about this movie, we cannot not talk about Patrick Stewart and how he is not fucking aged.
Yeah, at all.
He is a Gola.
Yeah, from this, from Next Generation, like at all.
He looks the same. Like, it's crazy. Not the Gurney Halleck I would have pictured, but then again, Duke Leto and this Jürgen Prochnow, like, I'm just like, Dr. Yue though fit. That was good casting.
Yeah, that was the good casting. And even, when I was watching it today, I was thinking about the age difference between Kyle MacLachlan and what's his mother's what's the actress's name?
Oh, fuck.
I was really trying to figure out the age difference because I feel like they are less than 10 years apart in
Francesca
age.
Ennis.
Whatever ages they are, I feel like there needed to be, like, Kyle MacLachlan should have been younger.
Yes. Remember the tooth.
Remember the tooth.
If the general audience goes in expecting Avengers Infinity Gauntlet type of film, word of mouth is going to, and that's a mistake. That is a huge mistake. And if you go in thinking that and know nothing about the source material, like if you think it's going to be all sandworms, oh no, like that's the build up, that's the foreplay to
Yeah. The once again, I'm going to suggest that if you have no clue about the source material, at least watch or listen to our breakdown of the first Dune book, because I think it would prepare people pretty well for like some of the mundane shit that happens in the first book and probably some of the mundane shit that'll happen in the movie.
There is also a channel called Quinn's Ideas.
Yeah.
Where he broke down every book into hour-long videos, kind of like going through like almost like a Spark Notes version, and it's all video to it with fan art and everything in it. I recommend those as well. Like, he does a fantastic job.
And he does a fantastic job with like Game of Thrones breakdown. Like, that's where I remember learning about him from, was because it used to be like a channel of Ice and Fire or Ideas of Ice.
Ideas of Ice and Fire.
So that it really just used to be like Game of Thrones breakdown, which I thought was really cool. And then when I started
watching, the show broke him.
Yeah, and which for good fucking reason. So I think that he did a really good job breaking down a lot of Dune stuff, because then he gets into the future stuff too.
Now I didn't know that. I had no memory of this actress. Like, Jürgen Prochnow, I know the name, but I don't remember what I know him from.
Yeah.
And Virginia Madsen, like, she's been in everything. Like, she's just fantastic. Kenneth McMillan is Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. There's a part where I just watch him doing laps around his room going, the Atreides are dead, the Atreides are dead.
Yeah. There, from the one clip that I've seen from the new movie, like, we do get to see the Baron Harkonnen, and he does the, like, floating thing. It's definitely a lot more ominous, and I'm waiting to really hear the full effect, because I know that they're going to do some, like, cool music, and it's just going to, like, blow my mind. So I'm definitely waiting for, like, the moments where Baron Harkonnen doesn't seem like a just wacky villain, where he, like, really feels like plotting villain. Like, that's what I'm waiting for him, like a plotting, like, sinister. I'm waiting for him to be more sinister for sure.
Also, for the new movie, Spotify now has the entire Hans Zimmer soundtrack on there, and it's pretty damn good.
I don't know. I'm tempted to go and listen to it right now, but I think that I don't want to lose any serotonin that I might get while listening to that music while watching the movie. So I'm probably going to watch the movie first and then listen to the soundtrack, have it on repeat for the rest of the year.
David Lynch removed his name from the credits and was credited as Alan Smithy.
David Lynch, we all know it's you. Don't even try.
There were also some other names that he went by. He was also in there as a spice worker. But he had his name removed from everything.
We all know it's you. I think that if you're going to do that, like, you should have just leaned into it, man. Like, or you should have at least answered some questions about this movie, right? Like, if he had just been like, yep, studio wouldn't let me do this, or this was what happened, and
it's weird because, like, in the documentaries on the new version I got from Arrow, like, he can't be found. He refuses to speak about it. But one of the guys who, like, worked on the movie, he was like, listen, I'm gonna be honest, this movie should have never been made. He's just like, just where we were at technologically and what was in the book, like, there was no way we were ever going to do justice. And it's fair. It's a fair, like, after the fact of just like, hey, but people are getting paid. People got jobs.
But I do think about, it's tough. What other sci-fi movie came out during that time that's sci-fi movie set in space the way that this one is? It's kind of set in space. It's set on Arrakis, and it's set a little bit on Caladan and some other places in between. I think that this movie could have been made. Like,
yeah, like, and again, like, they were going against Star Wars, which had already come out.
There were other movies that had done those things well. So I don't think that it was necessarily like a technology thing. I think it was a matter of, it felt like 20 different people had ideas for this movie and not one singular vision. Like, with, even just from what we're seeing with Denis Villeneuve, we see like a singular vision, like a singular cohesiveness.
You also have a director who really wasn't a fan of the source material. He was just like, it's a job, I'll take it, like, whatever. It's job's a job. Whereas, George Lucas, it was his child. Basically. Of course, he stole a lot from Dune. Alien stole from Dune. Flash Gordon stole from Dune. Jodorowsky's, like, failed movie just spawned, like, tons of other movies and things that were taken from it. Dan O'Bannon, it was probably payback for Jodorowsky kidnapping him, basically, and keeping him high the entire time in France. Taking H.R. Giger.
H.R. Giger. I get into fights with people whenever people are like, have you heard of H.R. Geiger? And I'm like, it's H.R. Giger. And you have to say it like that. Like, that's the only way you can say that fucking name, is H.R. Giger.
So one of our Dune Over co-hosts, panelists, Cinia, One night she started, because I work overnights and I was awake, she started texting me going, I'm watching David Lynch's Dune. Holy shit, what the fuck is going on?
And she's a David Lynch stan. Like, she loves Twin Peaks, and maybe she likes the other stuff too. I just think that she really likes Twin Peaks. And for her to kind of like not like this, I think it's funny. But
the Sandworm ride is going forever. Holy shit, I think they just reused the same footage.
Yeah.
Why do they have vocal powers? Like,
well, that's definitely like in the book, but
no, but blowing up like rock, like the weapon. Yeah,
that I was thinking about the using the voice.
Yeah, my name is a weapon. Like, just some of this stuff. And like Kyle MacLachlan's still like a young actor at the time, and like I don't think he was as like experienced as he is now. Like,
of
but
course
he made some choices.
Mm-hmm.
I will credit though, compared to the TV movie, that at least when the showdown happens, he's not wearing a samurai gi like the dude in the TV movie did. Where I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, we're in the desert. We're not in old Asia where you're like wearing kabuki pants and a gi. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, I think that there's the source material, the book does take a lot from like Persian as well as like North African cultures.
Yes.
So I would say that like not necessarily that like cultural appropriation from Eastern cultures is like way unheard of, because it's kind of a theme here. But anyways, I kind of get the samurai shit in a certain way, but yeah.
It was just jarring because like most of the TV movie, which someone uploaded all 4 hours onto YouTube if you're really interested.
Or really high.
There is so much Princess Irulan in it that also confused me, because like she is very much in it. I was like, ooh, Julie Cox. Okay, like she's very cute.
Like she actually gets laid in the TV.
She fucks Fade.
Yeah. So spoiler alert, Princess Irulan suffers maybe from some DAP.
She took the place of the Baron Fenring's lady.
Yeah.
Like, I got to get a little sample to, Oh boy, like, I wonder if that's going to be in the movie.
Probably not. I think that there's a lot of things that they are probably going to keep out for good reason.
If Jeff Goldblum shows up at Baron Fenring, I was like, that was us.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. A little asterisk over here. See the Dune over for what we're talking about.
We have a playlist, and I have it broken up into Dune Messiah and Dune. There's season 1, season 2, I'm calling it. We had a bunch of no-shows the first episode. It was kind of weird. I don't know who's showing up for the next episode except for the regular, well, I guess our 4 that were here last episode. Yeah. Also, I got to say, like, Scott fit in well with our, like, crazy bullshit.
What's so funny is that, I started following Scott, like, on Instagram, I think just because he's in Portland and he does art. And then I saw that he was doing the Dune over, and doing Dune-tober. So he was doing like an Inktober, but for Dune. And I was following that, and then ended up buying his sketchbook and a couple things. And then we found out like we just have a lot in common, and then ended up hanging out a couple weekends with him during Rose City Comic Con. And he is such a nice person. Like, my partner and I hung out with him, and like, Scott, if you're watching, I think that you're a cool person. You're very nice. So thank you.
Because I was just like, okay, this show usually goes like way off the rails. I'm like, I'm hoping he can roll with it.
Yeah. Got to like hang out and like have dinner with him. There was like a little Books with Pictures, my local comic book shop, put on a book fair for adults.
I saw that.
They did that after the convention at a like food truck cart area, because there's 100 of them here. And so got some drinks and dinner and some dessert and comics, and really cool time.
Is there a movie in your like memory that you could say you'd compare to this or tell people to try that would be like in the beautiful mess category?
Oh, in the beautiful mess category? Not necessarily beautiful mess. It depends on like what you think about that, because like when I think about some things that were maybe good back then but aren't good now in maybe hindsight, I think about movies maybe like Garden State, where like back then, yeah, you're rolling your eyes, like back then it was a great movie. It had a fantastic soundtrack.
I watched it recently, and it made me cringe.
Yeah.
There's some cringy shit in there that I was like, oh boy.
I think about like maybe just that era of movie making, focus features type stuff. Maybe not necessarily Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, because that's just a fantastic movie. But I think that maybe not necessarily for all the same reasons, but there are a lot of movies that I do think of as just looking back, they're just not good.
Well, we were talking about the director of District 9. That movie that was it not Elysium or whatever, where the movie's beautiful, but it's just something off about it.
Yes. My other movie that I would say I would 100%, now that I'm thinking, would compare 100% to 1984 Dune would be the Valerian movie. I hated that. Not gonna lie, I fell asleep during it. It was a hot mess. It had a way huge budget. It had a director that should have done way better.
And two actors, actress that had no fucking chemistry.
None whatsoever. Like, and I think that what is her name?
Oh, Cara Delevingne.
Cara Delevingne reminded me, like, the entire time she's playing a character like Kristen Stewart, where it's like she doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, like I got that vibe also in Suicide Squad, where I was like, they made her the main villain. Like,
Suicide Squad is maybe one of those also like hot messes, but maybe for a different reason, because that movie also needed to be like 3 different movies.
Yeah, like I don't think it knew what it wanted to be or who it wanted to focus on. Like, and supposedly there's all this studio interference. Yeah. I have a movie I picked out that I feel is a beautiful mess. Nightbreed, based on the Clive Barker book Cabal.
Oh.
The studio was insane enough to give him creative control, and he did an adaptation of his book. It's good. It's a mess. And David Cronenberg is in this, playing the main villain. And the villain's visage is, I think it's Button Face, or his name was,
not to be confused with a character like Pinhead.
Well, the character's name itself is Dr. Decker.
Okay.
But he's so fucking creepy in it. A little bit of it reminded me of Cillian Murphy playing Scarecrow.
Okay.
Where he's like, I gotta put on my mask. Okay. Except David Cronenberg's way creepier.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy's another actor I feel like why he hasn't played more killers surprises me.
Yeah.
Because he has that intensity. Like, did you ever watch Red Eye? With him and Rachel McAdams?
Is that the plane movie?
Yes.
I did, but it's probably been 15 years.
He's so amazingly, like, intensely creepy in it that I'm just like, this dude should be playing, like, creepy killer constantly.
Yeah.
So that one, Valerian definitely is one where I'm like, I know the dude who, like, is Fifth Element one of those ones where you just, like, blew your load early and you never can get it back again?
I think so. And maybe it's just, it suffers from, like, I think about bands, I know I say this like a lot, but I think about bands like Mumford and Sons when they came out with that first like album. It was good, and like it pretty much slapped. And then It was
like the Twilight album.
Yeah, and then like they rushed out a second album, and it was like, well, the first album did really good. Let's just throw all of this stuff, all of the songs that we recorded for the first album that didn't make it. Let's just throw those on the second album just to put out an album while we're hot. But not necessarily that's true of not Blade Runner, Fifth Element and Valerian, because that came out like 20 years later. So
he also did the Messenger, the Joan of Arc movie in between, which kind of was a mess, and then did the movie with Guy Pearce that John Carpenter sued him over.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, because it too closely was Escape from New York.
Oh, okay.
28 Days Later, fucking awesome movie. Even 28 Weeks Later wasn't bad.
Yeah.
A little bit off. I think that's the first time I ever saw Rose Byrne, and like I was immediately attracted to her. And Jeremy Renner played Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
Also, like 28 Days Later was filmed on camcorders.
That doesn't surprise me. I went back and rewatched that like maybe 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, when did this movie came out? And it literally came out the same, like maybe the same year as The Walking Dead.
Before that, it was years before that.
No, it was like the same year. It was like within a calendar year they both came out.
Oh wow, has it been that long? I thought 28 Days Later came out like a couple of years before.
No.
Valerian the comic was excellent, and again, like I think that suffers because of Cara Delevingne and Bobo Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't remember that. Dane DeHaan.
Oh, I couldn't. Yeah.
He's like that Spider-Man movie. Was it part 2? Amazing Spider-Man. Fuck! As soon as I saw that dude show up as Harry Osborn, I was like, no.
Yeah. Better is that than the lead Valerian for sure.
I mean, part of it you could put up to writing, but like that romance was so bad.
Yeah. It wasn't even like a will they or won't they. It's like, I don't want them to, because it just, I don't know. I feel like it was a lot more of the writing than anything else, because I didn't even want them to.
Christopher Eccleston's pretty good in everything, though.
I love Christopher Eccleston. That was my first like Doctor, so I feel like he's always been my favorite.
Even on Heroes, he was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the movie, I feel like this is one that you watch once.
Dune?
Just to say that you watched it. If you wanted something closer to the books, like the TV series that came out for Sci-Fi is a little bit closer, except with about 100% more Irulan, which for me was good. For others, not so much. Looking at you, Sid. Looking at you. She hates Irulan with a passion.
Yeah. Just wait till she reads Dune Messiah.
Well, we are.
Well, Sydney. Sydney. Got it.
Sydney is indifferent on Irulan, except for saying that she's basically Miranda from Sex and the City.
Yeah, basically.
The Children of Dune TV movie that was Messiah and Children of Dune, you get to see a young James McAvoy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pretty fantastic. And oh my God, who was the Susan Sarandon is playing oh God, one of the Carinos. I can't remember the character. Chris and Kate Winslet and starred in Jude, which is beautifully painted, especially the ending. I forgot. I don't know if I ever watched that.
Yeah, I don't think I ever watched that one either.
But again, like, I feel like this is a movie to experience, just to say, and then kind of read the book. If you've read the book and then watched it, you'll sit there and start going, "Huh, that's a choice."
If for nothing else, if you're having, like, if you're struggling watching or sorry, if you're having trouble, if you're struggling while reading the book, watch that movie, as horrible as it is, and just experience it. So then at least that way you have like a name to a face, if for no other reason, just so you can like picture some of the things going on in the book, knowing that the book is better. But you definitely, I'm here to say it again, you've got to watch our Dune over, because we explained so much.
And also the first 100 pages, if you read the book, as Cinia and Sid both said, you will feel like you're being insulted.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, because it just throws so much at you. It's throwing like acronyms that make no fucking sense at you, or they don't explain. Unless you go to the back glossary, which who is doing that?
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely go ahead and watch that. I know poor Mike was been with us since the beginning of that show, and he kind of caught on as we were going. John's Comics with Kids still hasn't read it. Kind of disappointed in him.
You know, he's got a lot of other reading to do, and apparently he has kids.
I mean, supposedly. I think they're props just for his TikTok videos now.
I think so too, yeah.
I saw that one with the Omni X-Men. It made me laugh. Like knocking the croissant out of, I think it was Charlie's hand.
Probably, yeah.
I laughed. Also, if you're not subscribing to his channel, you should go ahead and do that.
Yeah, one of the like best people in the community for sure.
By the way, did you happen to see the DC omnibus for Batwoman?
I didn't. You know, it's so funny because I've avoided buying omnibuy, because I feel like anytime I've gotten one, it doesn't feel good to read. And being a reader first, like I don't need to hold 30 pounds of a book to read it. And I'm not going to read it all at once. I'd rather much just get the trade.
Yeah, it was like $72. I was doing the math because like I could pay 20. That's not
bad though.
I was like, I could pay 20 for the Elegy trade, or get that, and then the new 52. I think it's the first two trades in that.
If I was going to do anything when it comes to the omnibus lifestyle, it would be like the books that I really like. So I do have the big, I've got the Saga Volume 1. I bought that used, which was pretty cool.
Well, it helps that that's a paperback too.
Yeah. No, not that one. Like the other one, the
hardcover one that does the couple of trades in each one.
Yep. So but I also have the trade paperback one. Both are really hard to read. So I think that when it comes to, because I actually read my books, surprise, surprise. Whatever's easier to read, that's what I'm gonna go with.
Yeah. Like I keep thinking about picking up the X-Men omnibuses, but I'm like, they're so fucking bulky to read.
And I do have the Sandman, but I do have Sandman, the Absolute one. Is it Absolute?
It's Absolute, the giant black hardcover. That looks like it's the Destiny tome.
Yeah, so there's two of them. There's an Absolute and there's another one. I guess I have the Absolute. I can't recall, but I do have the first volume of that. I've never picked up the other ones. But those are Saga and Sandman are like the only omnibuy that I have.
I've got Preacher. That's the only one I think I currently have, and I've got the bigger Daredevil ones, and then I have the Absolute.
What about Lock and Key?
Planetary. I never got that one.
Oh.
But I got Absolute Planetary, and then I have the Planetary Omnibus. I bought everything Planetary, which I haven't opened them. Which I'm still in a weird place after all.
It's weird.
Yeah. It's like still my favorite book, but like, I don't know. Like So next Sunday. Well, I was going to say next Saturday night at 9:00, we'll be back for the Dune Over Season 2, Episode 2. We'll be covering.
Sorry.
So I was just saying, next Saturday at 9:00, we will be back for the Dune Over. We'll be doing page 125 to 224, if I remember correctly. Might be more political intrigue. It might.
I think
more action.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I know each volume is off by a page or two.
It's 223 in this one. So.
Okay, yeah, like mine's just a little bit bigger, I guess. I've got the bigger edition. And then you have Casually Comics this Sunday.
Yeah, so tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern, Mars and I are going to, who knows what creator we will accuse of liking the smell of their own farts tomorrow. So,
Also, if you're not reading Duplicant by Carla Nappi, issue 3 just came out. She came on the show and we interviewed her about a month or two ago. Fantastic writer and person. So go out, check it out. It's not available on digital, weirdly. So
yeah,
you
I
have to
think,
actually buy a floppy, but if you search around online, you can find it.
and so my shop didn't have issue 3, but they had plenty of copies of issue 1. I bought 2, so I, did get those. But Books with Pictures does have some copies of issue 1. If you're not local to Portland, that's cool, because if you go to Books with Pictures website, put in an order request, Katie, who is an absolute goddess among us mere mortals, will get a copy of this to you.
Also, go check out our friend of the show and ours, Rodney Barnes, as his new book with Jason Sean Alexander comes out October 20th. Nita Hawes. There's a whole other part to that
Nightmare
title.
Blog.
Nightmare Blog, and it is a spin-off of Philadelphia, and Philadelphia has steadily stayed a very consistently good book. Good. And like Rodney's been so nice to us, so
also really quick too, just because something was brought to my attention, if we're talking about like friends of the channel, Steve Orlando has a couple books coming out, and there is a queer horror coming out called Prey and something.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I was really surprised because I think it comes out in October, and it was not on my radar.
He's been churning books out like
he's also
crazy since pandemic.
He's also doing another book that's published by Aftershock, is apparently doing a kids imprint. So he's also he did a book called The Rainbow Bridge, I believe it's called.
I did see him promoting that.
Yeah, so check out another friend of the channel, Steve Orlando.
Carlito and I, hopefully when he's better, will be doing weekly horror movies for Spooky Month. And October 30th, we will be doing Witches with Pretty Nerdy, Take 5 with Pretty Nerdy's channel, joining us, where I'm sure her and Jen will just talk about Jen buying the first Swamp Thing for a good 10 to 15 minutes. Because, funny enough, Pretty Nerdy was on Instagram one day, like, I almost bought this, like, I might buy it. And I showed Jen, and Jen's like, oh my God, like, Jen actually bought one with better grade for about the same price. So,
yeah, it was a lot.
There was a little bit of jealousy, and I forgot to bid on the stupid book on eBay. Damn it. I was going to try and get Gambit's Christmas present, and it sold for less than I thought. God damn it.
Dang.
He's missing one book from his X-Men run.
What is it?
First Dazzler.
Oh,
it's the only book he's missing from it.
Yeah.
So I've been looking for it for him. And
what X-Men number is that again?
130.
130. Got it.
Yeah. I should just talk to Morbius.
Yeah.
Who, like, I got a lot of comments of like, wow, like, that dude is awesome.
Yeah.
He fit in well. He was funny. He's got a lot of energy. So that kind of worked for that, even though we barely talked, as Pretty Nerdy said, you guys barely talked about the book.
Yeah. That's the show sometimes, folks.
I kind of like subtly put out to Scott Snyder. I was like, hey, we're talking about witches if you want to come on. He's not going to come on.
Oh, yeah.
He won't come on. Yeah. But I had to like do that, like, hey, it worked once. Like, let's see if this works. So yeah, everybody, Oh yeah, by the way, this little movie called Dune comes out in October
22nd.
21st if you go on Thursday night.
Oh.
Which I took a 3-day weekend so that I could go see it Thursday night. And don't be surprised if we do a impromptu non-spoiler live stream. Because it's going to be an experience, because I'll probably watch it in the theater, and then the next day I'm going to go home and watch it on HBO Max once it goes live.
Yeah, it'll be playing like everything else will need to be watched after this, because I will be playing it over and over and over and over on HBO Max until it wears out.
Your part will come home. Your part will come home. Still on?
They know that this is going to be.
Are you going to sit there with your Chris knife and your Gom Jabbar?
Gom Jabbar, yep.
Are you an animal or a human? I don't know. I'm waiting for them to do a Rick and Morty reference to that. Like sometime.
I feel like they would have already done it. Like
they did it in Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, where they did the God Emperor of Dune, but Mandy was the God Emperor, just killing Billies left and right. Still like my favorite. Like, 2:00 in the morning, I'm drunk. I'm like, hold up, wait, did they? This show just became like my top favorite Cartoon Network show. So thank you everybody for joining us. Wish Carlito well. Like, again, it was just last minute. He told me last night, he's like, I'm not feeling so good. Also, I kind of had the humor of someone in my Instagram feed who is very blatant anti-vaxxer and saying Corona's a hoax. He got COVID. Yeah.
Like Mama always said, let the Lord sort them.
Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate all of you coming on and joining us. And bye-bye. And go subscribe.
Bye.